The Packers end up tying with the Dallas Cowboys 40-40 in a thriller game. If you guys are brand new here and brand new to my channel, hit that subscribe button because it only takes 2 seconds. If you're a Packer fan, if you're an NFL fan, this is a channel for you with reactions and power rankings. But yeah, we got this game to really discuss. There's a lot to talk about, but oh man. So first, we're going to take a look at the Packers stats real quick. Jordan Love went 31 for 43, 337 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had no picks. He did get sacked one time, which was ended up leading a fumble late in the second quarter, and that fumble ended up turning into a touchdown. But overall, Jordan Love was perfect. He had a quarterback rating of 118.1, and like I said, he had a lot of really good throws. He looked comfortable in the pocket for the most part. Now, granted, this offensive line for the first half was really shaky when it came down to the pass game, when it came down to the run game. But Jordan Love looked poised. He made a lot of good throws. The wide receivers were catching a lot of balls. We'll talk about that in a second. But Jordan Love in that fourth quarter in this game came back 3 times whenever the Packers defense, which we'll talk about them in a second, he came back 3 times to end up either tying it or coming back with a touchdown. If you're going to sit here and say Jordan Love was not elite in that game, you're crazy because he looked phenomenal. And now that fourth quarter, the overtime and that last drive of the game was definitely a little interesting with the 20 seconds running on the clock. And also, him throwing it into the out of the end zone with 1 second left was definitely a little questionable. But man, I love what Jordan Love did in this game. He looked phenomenal. This game, Packers scored 40 points. That's phenomenal. Josh Jacobs went 22 carries for 86 yards, averaging 3.9. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns. But like I said, Emmanuel Wilson also had 44 yards on 8 carries. Jordan Love also had 28 yards on 3 carries, so he had a nice little game there. But this offensive line, like I mentioned earlier, the first half was atrocious. Josh Jacobs had no room to run at all. The passing, like I said, gave up a lot of pressures in the first half. But the second half, Josh Jacobs ended up balling out. He also had 71 yards receiving. He was the leading receiver. Romeo had a phenomenal game, 58 yards on 3 touchdowns. Again, this Packers offense was beautiful. He scored 40 points on the road against the Cowboys team who basically needed this win. This was their playoff game because the Cowboys could not beat the Packers at all in the last few years. This was just a huge game for the Cowboys, but scoring 40 points is phenomenal. You cannot just disgrace the offense at all. Again, they had a couple of bad drives, but that's just going to happen. It is what it is. Matthew Golden had a nice little game. He had a 46-yard catch in the first drive of the game. Other than that, he had an okay game, but again, he had a really crucial 4th down catch in overtime because, obviously if he didn't catch it, that would have been game over. So this offense, again, the offensive line was definitely struggling. The play calling was definitely conservative, but it could have been worse. I've seen some worse play from the offense for sure, like last week. But when his offense scored 40 points, you really can't blame them too much. Again, you had 164 yards rushing, 337 yards passing, almost 500 yards total. Only that 1 turnover, which was a strip sack, which is a really good play by the defense. But again, the play calling was a little conservative. It was a little shaky at the end of the game. But it could have been so much worse, like the defense. But again, Jordan Love, a phenomenal game. Josh Jacobs, really good second half. Romeo had a beautiful game. But what was not beautiful was his defense. We're going to read the Cowboys stats real quick. Dak Prescott had a game of his life with 319 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He only got sacked at 1 time, which was in overtime. Now, granted, if he did not get sacked by Micah Parsons, which we can all know it was a 0-yard play. Okay, guys, it was it wasn't crucial sack. That's what some Cowboys fans are saying. But if he didn't sack him, you guys realize that would have been a touchdown? He literally saved a touchdown. Now, this defensive line did absolutely nothing all game. I can understand that. There was only like 5 or 6 pressures this whole game. This Cowboys offensive line played like their life was on the line. Javonte Williams had 20 carries for 85 yards with an average of 4.3. He also had that rushing touchdown. But other than that, I thought the Packers' run defense was pretty good. They gave up 117 yards, but again, there's a couple of big plays the Cowboys had. But other than that, it was a lot of 1 to 2 yard plays. But that was like the only positive for this Packers defense. George Pickens had 134 yards on two touchdown catches, 8 receptions. George Pickens was completely balling out. He had that really good catch in the second quarter on the goal line. I mean, I don't even know how he caught that with 2 defenders on him. Jalen Tolbert had 61 yards. Jake Ferguson had 40 yards. But this Packers defense, for the first 3 weeks, was phenomenal. Obviously, a top team, like a top 2 unit. You could argue they were the best defense in the league in the first 3 weeks. This game looked like one of the worst defenses in the league. You got to give the Cowboys a lot of credit here, though, because this offense is a good offense. Even with CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Booker being out, they played like an all-pro team, it seemed like, on the offense. I mean, the offensive line, like I said, only gave up that 1 sack, which was a crucial sack for the Packers, too, because like I said, if he didn't sack him, that would have been a touchdown in overtime. But other than that, this offensive line was keeping Rashawn Gary looking like he was a little kid out there. Lucas Van Ness didn't do anything. Devontae Wyatt came out early in the second quarter. But like I said, Micah Parsons had a few pressures, but overall didn't really do anything, which is really embarrassing. Not necessarily embarrassing, but upsetting, because I was hoping he would have a big game. But coming into this game, I thought the Packers would at least have a few sacks. I didn't think Micah Parsons would particularly have a huge game because they're going to be double teaming him, triple teaming him, even quadruple teaming him. But I thought Rashawn Gary or Lucas Van Ness would at least a sack or 2, but they didn't really do anything. But when it comes to the secondary in this team, Keshawn Nixon, besides that one play in overtime where it was a 40-yard pass, I can't remember who it was, but it was a phenomenal catch, by the way. He kind of gave up the last few seconds and just watched them catch that ball. I don't know what he was even thinking. Even if it was out of bounds, you still got to go cover your guy. But besides that one play by Nixon, I thought he played really well. But besides that, I mean, I feel like I could have went out there for cornerback for the rest of the Packers. I mean, you had Nate Hobbs getting completely roasted in this first half. And I don't even think he played in the second half because he had a concussion injury. Which, again, I don't think he came back, but he got not ruled out. But, again, I don't know what happened in the second half with him because I didn't even see him on the field. But Nate Hobbs had a horrible game. Carrington Valentine in the second half got picked on the whole game. I mean, he was getting roasted by George Pickens and Jalen Tolbert. I mean, where was Xavier McKinney in this game? Like, the Packers defense has 1 turnover in 4 weeks. Last year, we were a turnover machine. Again, the Packers defense has been playing great when it comes to sacks, the run game, making them going 3 and out, which is a phenomenal thing, by the way. But when it comes to a turnover point, we have them doing nothing. I'm so sorry. We have 2 turnovers. We have 2 interceptions. One in week 1 interception with Evan Williams, and then the one in week 3 against the Browns. So I'm so sorry. 2 turnovers, but still, 2 turnovers, 4 weeks. That's nothing. Evan Williams had a poor game today. He was the one that also gave it that George Pickens huge catch on the sideline. Where was Edgerrin Cooper all game? Like, I didn't see him make any plays today. I felt like he wasn't even playing today. Where was Quay Walker? This first quarter for the Packers defense was phenomenal. After that, I feel like they ended up getting replaced by a whole bunch of white boys like me and just giving up huge plays left and right. This Joe Barry, it's so funny to say Joe Barry because it looked like a Joe Barry defense out there. What was Jeff Hafley doing today? Or technically yesterday, because I'm recording this Monday morning because I was up way too late last night. They were playing so much soft coverages like a Joe Barry defense. They were just sending 4 people, 5 people the whole time. I didn't really see a lot of big blitzes in this game. And again, whenever the Packers did blitz, the Cowboys' offensive line did a phenomenal job. But still, Nothing like the first 3 weeks of this Packers defense. They were not really disguising a lot of things. They were playing soft the whole game, and they're still getting completely toasted out there. And this game sucks too because the Packers offense was so good and the Packers defense was just so bad, and the Packers defense was playing so good until this game, and it just sucks so bad because now the Packers are sitting at 2-1-1, which is so ugly to look at. I hate ties. If you know me very well, I do not like ties. I'd rather take the loss than a tie. But I mean, I guess it works out perfect because our offense was playing so good and our defense was so bad. I guess it averages out to a tie, I guess. That's the only way I can look at it. But if you're, okay, so here's another thing I want to kind of cover too. Again, this game was a tie game. Very close game. It should have been a blown out game, a lot of people were saying, because the Cowboys have been playing so bad. But the NFL, it's not like college in the first few weeks whenever you see point spreads of like 45.5. You got a 51-point spread. You got teams blown out 63-0. The NFL is not like college. You looked at the Bills and Saints yesterday, where that point spread was 16.5, and the Saints were holding their own against the Bills until the last couple minutes, and the Bills only won by like 13 points or something like that. That game was close. You had the Chargers lose against the Giants yesterday, where the Chargers have been looking great all season. Offense has been doing phenomenal, and they only scored 18 points against the Giants. Just think about that. You got the Baltimore Ravens, who are sitting at 1-3, where their offense has been looking good a few weeks, but their defense has been looking deplorable, and they were supposed to be one of the best defenses going into this season. And the Ravens, like I said, are sitting at 1-3 with all of these injuries on defense. Like, you got the Tennessee Titans sitting at 0-4 with your number 1 overall quarterback you drafted. You had high potential for at least its offense this year, getting shut out against its Houston Texans team, who has been so bad. I'm saying all of this right now because the Packers are sitting at 2-1-1. The NFL, you do not know what's going to happen because it's any given Sunday. The Packers could be so much worse. They technically could be 4-0 if it was for our special teams. Which special teams, Rich Bisaccia, you need to go. Having that field goal blocked or the PAT blocked in the second quarter, instead of being 14-0, it's 13-2. And guess what? That's 3 points right there. And guess what? 3 points could have been added to the Packers right there. And guess what? You got tied. Last week against the Browns, you lost 13-10. Going into the last drive, the Packers had 30 seconds left. Got a blocked field goal. Could have been 13-10 Packers because that defense was humming for the Packers that week. The Packers could easily be 4-0. But guess what? We're sitting here at 2-1-1, which is still so weird to say. The NFL is crazy. Anything can happen. Like I said, you mentioned the Titans, the Ravens. You got the Bills barely beating out the 0-4 Saints and their putrid offense. The NFL, anything can happen. These are NFL players. They're very good players, no matter what team, what roster, whatever. I want a blowout to happen. Of course, I want a comfortable win, but you can't just expect the Packers to blow out everybody. They're going to have blemishes. They're going to have rust spots. No one is perfect. I mean, the last perfect team was the Dolphins back in whatever record that was when they went 19-0. That's not going to happen again, because that just is impossible. So now the Packers are sitting second in their division behind the Lions, who are 3-1. The Vikings are 2-2, and the Bears are 2-2 as well. This division is obviously still up for grabs for any team. It's still only week 5 going into this. I mean, again, Packer fans, sort of kind of relax. Anything can happen. You know, we got to just take anything we can get. I mean, we're 2-1-1. We could be 0-4. We could be 4-0. I get it. There's a lot of teams that could be 0-4, like the Eagles. They're 4-0 right now, yes, but they could easily be 0-4 if it wasn't for a couple of small plays going their way in these games. Anything can happen, guys. It could be so much worse. It could be so much better. Yes, I understand that. But we got the bye week going to week 5. We got a lot of work on. I mean, this offensive line was putrid, like I said, in the first half. We're still missing a lot of key players. Christian Watson might be coming back in week 6 against the Bengals, but I don't know, man. It sucks. It could be so much worse. It could be so much better. We are sitting at 2-1-1. But wrap up this video. If you do like it, hit that like button, subscribe if you're brand new. Comment down below how you feel about this game, how you feel about everything overall this season. But I'm out of here. Deuces.